I live in a luxurious estate, where time used to be measured by children's laughter and the scent of fresh coffee. Every morning, my Lydia, she always got up earlier, would prepare breakfast, singing something under her breath, as if the world were her kitchen. Life used to live here. And now the walls stand like tombstones. The children have left. In their cities, I exist only as an entry in the phone book or as a signature under a transfer. My grandchildren see me as a framed photo. They come to show off. This is what my grandfather gave me. It's a new car, then tickets to the Maldives. And each gift is like a receipt that they still need me. Not as a person. As a function. As a financial unit. For them, I am not a grandfather. I am a premium credit card with a story. There is a portrait hanging in the living room, where we are all together, smiling, still young. And now I don't even recognize their voices right away. Their attitude towards me is polite and cold. They are not rude, they are not rude. They simply communicate with me the way they speak to a hotel concierge, politely, but formally. The neighbors gossip. They say he wants to find himself a young woman to liven up his everyday life. The old fool thinks he can do something else. They laugh while I remain silent. And I remain silent, because silence is the last thing left of my pride. Silence is a luxury for those whose opinions are no longer asked. Every day I sit by the large window in my office. I see the seasons changing behind it, and my silhouette on the glass becomes paler every day. It seems that even my own reflection has grown tired of me. Time is erasing my image from this world. Once I had a voice that stopped meetings. Now the silence of my house is louder than any TV show. I ruled an empire. I was invited to ministers' offices. I was shaken by those from whom others ran away. I built skyscrapers, shopping malls, apartment complexes. I could put millions into circulation with a single word. And now I get change at the pharmacy without even looking into their eyes. As if from faceless cashiers who see me as just another pensioner. My former subordinates call me a legend, but this only means that I am a thing of the past. And legends, as we know, are not needed in reality. I know what they say about me. Young girls whose medical treatment, education, and apartment rent I once paid for now call me Old Daddy. Their new slang is my new prison. I often think that they are all right. That I am already empty. That my wallet is the only thing that still speaks on my behalf. And even it is falling silent. My children are successful. And here's the paradox. They've become so successful that they don't need to call me anymore. They have their own children, their own partners, their own bills. I'm like an oversized sideboard in a new apartment. As if valuable, but superfluous. Their wives are polite, like bank administrators. Their words don't carry warmth. Their concern is a check mark on the being a good wife list. And my grandchildren are. They just get angry at my presence. They're annoyed by my appearance, my slow voice, my clothes, my smell, my world. They live in a fast-paced world of likes, while I live in a slow rhythm of a heart that beats even though no one else needs it. I am a guest in my own home. And guests, as we know, don't stay long. I wasn't always old. I wasn't always a shadow on the wall of my own house. Once I was a force. Once my name was whispered at construction tenders, with respect and a little fear. But even before that. Even before all that, I was a boy born in the dirt, where dreams smelled of fuel oil and dampness. I didn't study in prestigious schools. I was taught by the streets. They are cruel, but fair. The winner is the one who doesn't fall. Or the one who gets up. Over and over again. And I got up. Mostly alone. I fell with a crash, with blood, with pain. But I never stayed down. Because even then I learned, in this world, either you are a predator or you are eaten for breakfast. I didn't join the army for the sake of a uniform or a flag. I was looking for discipline, without which my rage could destroy me from the inside. In the army I learned what death smells like. Not the kind in the movies, silent, dirty, unexpected. I saw friends die at arm's length. How emotions disappeared from faces. How fear became the daily norm. And then I swore. You will survive. You will become the one they fear. You will become the one who will never be a victim. After returning from the army, I lost the only person who could calm me down. Lydia. She died early, my heart. I wasn't even given a proper goodbye. They called me when it was too late. I remember holding her hand in the morgue. It was still warm. I believed that right now she would open her eyes. But no. From that moment on, I became different. Cold. Purposeful. Programmed for survival. I raised our children alone. Without nannies, without chatter, without tenderness. I didn't know what it was like to be soft. But I was. Soft in action, although tough in words. When they fell, I lifted them. When they were sick, I sat next to them. Even if I had to drive half the city at night to get medicine, I drove. Without words. I just did. Love for me was an action, not a gesture. I built my business the same way a tower is built in the middle of a storm, block by block. I started with one crew. 7 people, 2 concrete mixers, a truck that stalled every day. But I knew how to talk to people. I knew how to convince. And I knew how to keep my word. A few years later, I already had 5 properties. 10 years later, a corporation. 15 years later, influence. Such that I could call at 3 in the morning, and they would listen to me. I didn't need orders. I collected not awards, but fear and respect. I didn't sell myself. But I bought everything. Trust. Time. Opportunities. The irony is that now I am the one who is perceived as a commodity. Now I am the object of purchase. My time, status, and influence are traded with those I raised, and saved. Young girls are not stupid. They know how to look with big eyes, touch hands, and whisper compliments that I have heard dozens of times. But I allow it. Because in this game, I still feel alive. I am not perfect. I have my sins. I was tough on my subordinates. I rarely told my children that I was proud of them. I did not hug them when they needed it. But I was always there. I paid sick leave, saved their businesses, got them out of debt, gave them housing. I was not a good father in the classical sense. I was a support. A foundation. And now this foundation seems too old to them. Too archaic. Too, not what they would like. And what's most frightening is that they are no longer grateful. They are tired of my presence. It seems to them that my stories are just boring stories. That my advice is a scoop. That my experience is rubbish. And I look at them and think, you have all this only thanks to me. But you will never admit it. And what's even stranger is that I don't even get angry anymore. I just remember. They call it care. My children have decided that I deserve a comfortable old age. That's how they phrase it. A comfortable old age. In their words, it's care. In their eyes, it's relief. They don't want me around anymore. But they don't have the courage to say it outright. It's all included there, Dad, the son says without looking up. A swimming pool, nurses, yoga instructors. You'll be fine, the daughter-in-law adds, smiling the way managers smile when they hear bad news. I don't answer. I just nod. But at that moment, something sinks inside me, heavy as a stone. It's not an offer. It's a sentence. A retirement home? Elite, they say. With a view of the forest. But for me, it's a prison with white walls, with people waiting to die between dinner and medication. It's a place where old age becomes not a stage, but a status. They want me to disappear beautifully, neatly, under supervision. And without too much noise. Like a shadow that goes out the window and never comes back. The grandson comes the next day. He sits down, throws the phone on the table, and says, Grandpa, you understand, they don't love you. Those girls. They're milking you. It's embarrassing to watch you arrange dates with these students. You're 70. I look at him. He's young, self-confident. He has everything ahead of him. I'm not angry. But I write down his name. And the date. In my diary. This is not revenge. This is a fact. Just another scratch on the ceiling of trust. I go to the doctor supposedly for prevention. He reviews the tests, smiles condescendingly. You must be lonely. You have depressive tendencies. I would recommend mild antidepressants. Very good. Modern ones? I nod. And in my head there is only one question: how to cure indifference to the soul. No one wants to see that I am not sick. I am disappointed. I do not need pills. I need silence in which I am not judged. But such silence does not exist. I am dating a girl. She was once a shadow of death the disease was eating away at her lungs. I paid for her surgery. An expensive, rare one, abroad. Then she cried in my arms and called me an angel. Now she calls only when she needs jewelry, a trip or dinner at a restaurant. Her every "Good evening, sunshine" sounds like a deal. I see it. But I am silent. Because such a presence is better than silence at home. Gifts have become the currency of communication. I do not buy things. I buy the illusion that I can still be needed. One evening she came in the coat that I gave her for Christmas. She hugged me, kissed me on the cheek, and then said, "Osborne, you know you're special. You're like a real dad to me." Like a dad. Those words hit me harder than a punch in the chest. Because real children don't come. They don't ask how I'm doing. They don't write. I smiled. And silently added her name to my diary. There, on the last pages, there are already dozens of names. And not all of them belong to the family. There are the names of politicians, journalists, old friends, whom I helped in the darkest moments of their lives, and who now pretend that I don't exist. More and more often I wake up at 4 in the morning. Not because I can't sleep, but because I feel something is coming. Something big. Like a storm. This storm is inside me. And it's growing. It happened on an ordinary evening. There was no storm. There was no lightning. The sky was gray, just like me. I went outside because I wanted to take a walk. Unaccompanied, without a driver. Just to go. The wind licked my face, as if trying to remember who I once was. I stopped at the crosswalk. In a hurry, I took a step and slipped. It was all instantaneous. I fell. Sharply, painfully. I hit my rib on the curb. And I stayed lying there. My body didn't hurt, the humiliation hurt. People walked by. Someone turned their head, saw that I was an old man, in a suit, with gray hair, and walked on. As if I were a stain on the asphalt that couldn't be touched. I looked at the girl standing next to me. She was wearing a bright jacket, a phone in her hands, and I said, "Can you help me?" She looked at me not with her eyes, but with an assessment. Her lips twitched in a crooked smile. "You daddies just need to be pitied," she whispered so that everyone could hear. Laughter. People gathered around. Some even filmed it on their phones. Someone said, "Oh, is that the sugar daddy from TikTok? My God, is he still alive?" They posted me on social media. They called me the daddy on the asphalt. Comments poured in like bile. "Buy yourself a young girl to help you get up." The credit card fell. Oh, the ATM ran out. I lay there looking at the sky. The sky didn't respond. It didn't promise. It didn't protect. And then something inside me cracked. Not a bone. Consciousness. I didn't cry. I didn't ask. I just got up. Alone. And I went home, limping, with my jaw clenched. Every laugh they gave me was a nail. Every video is a rope. And I was no longer Grandpa Osborne. I became a silent blade. That night I sat down at the table. I opened my diary. And for the first time in many years, I began to write not memories, but a plan. No book names. No book dates. No book places. No book events. I am not a maniac. I am a strategist. I have been calculating risks all my life, building algorithms. And this situation is no exception. I still have connections. People who owe me favors. Old contacts who hide behind new faces. I knew who to find. I knew where everyone who betrayed me hurts. I didn't want to kill. I wanted to let them see themselves. In the mirror that I would hold in front of their faces. I am not a murderer. I am not one who acts in anger. I am an observer. And when it is time to act, I do it not with a hot hand, but with a cold mind. My silence has always been my weapon. Now it has become a trigger for war. I opened my old laptop. The one that lay in the safe, disconnected from everything that could interfere. There are archives. Contacts. Names. Memories. Contracts that seemed forgotten. Letters that promised eternal gratitude. Photos of those who are now playing a new life, forgetting that I bought their first chance. I am back in the game. Not as a builder, but as an engineer of revenge. The first name in the diary is my grandson. He is the one who laughed last. The one who filmed my falls in my head, even before they became reality. Young, energetic, but too self-confident. His Instagram is a showcase of vanity. His girlfriend is my ex-dependent. I met her. She still loves expensive dinners, still hides her eyes when she says, "I was sad." I offered her a deal compromising evidence. The kind that could destroy a guy in a day. Cheating, drugs, black accounting. She hesitated. 2 minutes. Then she nodded. For a new car. And a little silence. A week later, his name appeared in the media, a scandal. Not fatal. But painful. And forever. His career as a blogger in question. His investors no longer return calls. Next, his daughter. She runs her business with my money. I no longer finance directly, but I am a guarantor. My last name is her brand. And I decided to remove it. I contacted the bank that held her lines of credit. My old acquaintance, with whom we once closed mayors and judges. I told him 3 things. She's no longer under my name. I'm withdrawing the guarantees. I'm offering something more interesting instead. He didn't ask much. 2 days later, the bank canceled the deal. Her company is on the verge of crisis. Panic. She calls. Doesn't ask how I am. Asks if it's me. I don't answer. I just hang up. A young girl, the same one who refused my hand on the street, her TikTok and Instagram accounts just disappear. I knew people on social platforms. Old IT guys I once helped with licenses. I didn't order them to hack. I just hinted that her profile was toxic. The algorithm did the rest. Shadow ban. Complaints. Removal. Her name is no longer trending. Her requests are destroyed. And when she contacted the platform's press service, they simply ignored her. She wrote to me. "Is that you?" I didn't answer. But I kept the message. Like a trophy. I continued on. Slowly. Methodically. Everyone who thought I had disappeared now felt my presence. Not physically. But in the failure of the project. In the refusal of partners. In unexpected losses. They did not know where the wind came from. But it blew from one place, from the house where the old grandfather sat by the window and wrote. And you know what the strangest thing is? I did not feel anger. Only pure, calm satisfaction. This was not revenge. This was a correction of history. A correction of perception. I was no longer a target. I became a mirror. And anyone who dared to spit in it saw their true face in response. I didn't become a hero. I didn't become a romantic image in someone's story. I didn't receive the final applause. I didn't die in the arms of my beloved. I didn't hear remorse on my knees. I became a mirror. Not the kind of mirror you want to look into, but the kind that shows the truth. The kind that cuts. Today everything looks different. The phone rings more often. The children started calling. With caution. With the same cold politeness, but now with a hint of fear. They ask about their health. About how they're doing. About, "Do you need anything?" The grandchildren, those who never wanted to listen to my stories, are now interested in business. Grandpa, how did you get the first property then? And how did you negotiate with the banks? They asked, not with respect, but out of calculation. But this is already a movement. This is already a discomfort that I created in their cozy world. They learn. Because of fear. Because of a fall. Because of the loss of profit. And I don't regret it. Because that's the only way people really understand what was valuable. I'm no longer looking for love. I'm not playing the old romantic. Young girls still write. But now I don't answer. I no longer sell emotions for attention. I felt that loneliness is not a prison, but freedom. Society no longer laughs. I'm not a meme. I'm a reminder. That even the oldest predator knows how to quietly hide and bite at the right moment. I still live in my estate. I still sit by the window. But now it's not observation. It's a control position. The window has become my remote control. When I look through it, I see everything I've built. And everything I've broken. I'm keeping a new diary. Not with dates and names, but with thoughts. This is not a memoir. This is a philosophy of retribution. My principles. My code. My response to the world that taught me. Old age is not weakness. It is another form of strength. I ask no forgiveness. And I expect no gratitude. I am no longer destroyed by their indifference, their youth, or their jokes. Because I see right through them. The last entry in the diary reads, "They called me Daddy. But I am the father of your fears. And I am still alive."
Subscribe and like. And tell your friends about this video.